program on paper 2. So we will be having a first session on film and visual communication, and the resource person is Professor Abdul Rasheed. So I have already introduced him in the last session, so without much introduction, I welcome you, sir, to this session. And over to you, sir. Have a wonderful session.
Thank you. Good afternoon, my dear participants. Today, we'll be going through the Unit 9 of our NTA syllabus, that is Film and Visual Communication. And taking into consideration the syllabus is a good amount of content are there under this Film and Visual Communication syllabus. Towards 2014, 15 and 16, there were not much questions regarding film. The syllabus was a different kind. But later on, when I checked the latest, that is 2019 June syllabus, we could get a good number of questions from this film and visual communication. So at least I guess at least 15 questions were there from this part, not actually direct questions, but then also which had a good connection with this film and visual communication. So this is a syllabus for film and visual communication. So as you can see here, there are a content, as far as the content is considered, we have to we can see that there are many theories, many movements, many analysis, all those kinds of aesthetics things are there. So film and television theory, film and identity in Indian film studies, approaches to analysis of Indian television, visual communication, basics of film language and aesthetics, national cinema movements. And in this session, that is in today's session, I'll not be going through the entire syllabus, because if we go through the entire syllabus, we have to go through all the theories and all those things. But instead of that, as I said in the last session, I'll be giving an outline for the basic thing or the major theories or movements which are there in the syllabus. So what you can do is you can go through all those things which we share today, and you can research deep into that, because the content is heavy, that is why. And unlike last session, today towards the end only we will be having the question session. So the question session, I'll be giving you some questions where you have to answer. I'll be giving the time for answering also. So the things which we discuss through the slides will be asked in those questions, and it is from the previous year question papers that I have noted down some questions which are related to our film and visual communication syllabus. So make sure that you are alert throughout the session so you can attend those questions easily. So moving into the session, we'll start with film movements. You all are aware of film movements, the world film movements, which have changed the way which we see the films. So these are the important film movements which we have to learn, and in that, okay, there are many contents under all these film movements. I'll be discussing these film movements. Why I am discussing these film movements? Because we have to understand what all films, which all films are the famous under this film movements. What are the characteristics of those film movements? Because the questions will not be asking like what is German Expressionism. Instead of that, the question will be about the characteristic of that particular film movement. So we have to answer accordingly. So for that, I'll be discussing all those things. So these are the four film movements, major film movements. First one is German Expressionism, second Soviet montage, Italian Neorealism, and French New Wave. German Expressionism, it started in the year 1920 and till 1920 to 1923. It started with the poetry and painting in Germany. It started with poetry and painting in Germany. So it was the movement where people sought to express what felt or saw during the First World War. So soon after the First World War, the people have like the painters, especially the painters, they have expressed their uh, art through this German expressionism. So it spread around Germany and North European states, and it is considered as one of the artistic movement. And next, the details about that German expressionism: color, detailed textures, geometrical objects, beautifully distorted work, a new creative style. All those things were the popular thing under German expressionism. And this is an avant-garde movement which have flourished importantly in film making. So I'll tell about the dominant characteristics of expressionism in film. So I'm not going through the painting or any literature or anything. So instead of that, I'm going through the dominant characteristics of expressionism in films. So in the slides, you can see those particular points: long shadow effects, artificial sets with realistic details. The details in the sets bring forth emotional. Camera kept in an unexpected angles and slow pace than a regular movie. The movie was very slow in process, because the other movies, unlike the other movies which go with the time, the German expressionism movies were very slow. So this is a kind of a mystery, hallucination, extreme emotional stress. The thing is, people, it shows a dilemma of people, that the geometry, as I mentioned, the geometry things, the things are not set up properly. The props are set up in a way that it creates chaos or it creates confusion in people. And German expressionism in films, it is mainly studio based. Everything the German expressionism films occur in mainly under the studio. It focused on mise en scene and chiaroscuro, and exaggeration of characters, heavy art directions, everything like properties were much used in German expressionism. So in this, one word is the mise en scene. Mise en scene, hope everyone know what is mise en scene. So mise en scene is the arrangement of the scenery, properties, etc. on the stage of a theatrical production, or it is a setting or surroundings of an event. That is known as mise en scene. So anything which appears on the screen is known as mise en scene. And this particular word, German expressionism, mise en scene, came popular with that German expressionism, because since it's studio based, as I told you about geometrical things and chaos thing, they were focusing on the mise en scene aspect of film. Next is a chiaroscuro. Chiaroscuro in art, it is a strong contrast between light and dark. It is a strong contrast between light and dark, usually bold contrast affecting a whole composition. So this is about the chiaroscuro. And German expressionism has inspired film noir and horror cinema. Film noir is a theory, and it is a filmmaking characterization. Film noir, the seventh point, if you can see that, the seventh point, film noir. So film noir in French term, it mean that dark film. It is style of filmmaking characterized by cynical heroes, like star lighting effect, flashback. So it was like prevalent mostly in American crime dramas of post-World War era. So it is described to use a stylish Hollywood crime dramas, particularly emphasize sexual motivation or all other kinds thing. So German Expressionism has inspired the film noir and horror cinema. So horror cinema, the film noir is about the crime thing, and horror cinema, as you know that. So this has a base. This film noir and horror cinema has a base on German Expressionism. And the prominent figures and the films during German Expressionism are, like, you have to note down these names since it will be useful for you in your preparation. So one of the very famous film of the German Expressionism is The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. You may have heard that, at least you all have watched that particular film, The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari in 1920, which was released in 1920. And Nosferatu and Metropolis, all these are the major films under German Expressionism. Next film movement is Soviet montage. It started in the year like 1924 to 1930. So if you remember the year, what you can do is when the question asks about the chronological order, chronological sequence, all those things, you can answer the questions easily. So Soviet montage was in the year 1924 to 1930. So it was in 1924 Sergei Eisenstein, the famous figure who you all know that Sergei Eisenstein and Lev Kuleshov with other major film directors like Dizzy Gavertov, Pudovkin formed a group called Association of Revolutionary Cinema, ARC. So they brought the style called montage. So montage is a technique, as you know that montage is an editing technique. So we'll be going in the post-production thing, we'll be talking about that. Montage is an editing technique. So montage edited into a condense the space, time, and information. So it is not the Sergei Eisenstein who coined the term montage, but it is Lev Kuleshov. It was Lev Kuleshov. The prime principle of the montage style was invented by Lev Kuleshov in 1918 by bringing the shots that do not have any relation but makes a connection by what comes before and after the shot. So hope you know the Kuleshov effect. There was a man, there was a coffin, there was a plate of dish, there was a girl, those things. Hope all remember the Kuleshov effect. So that was the Kuleshov effect. For in that from there he have brought out the montage style. Sergei Eisenstein, who was also making his own experience, have experimented this Kuleshov effect, and he brought out the idea called Soviet montage. So again, it brings the conflicting images, shots together that gives a unique contrast, leaving a shock and anticipation for the audience. The thing is, montage, the things, the shots which does not necessarily have a connection between the shots, they'll be joined together to give a experience for the audience. So these are the key figures of Soviet montage, that is Lev Kuleshov, Sergei Eisenstein, Dziga Vertov, Pudovkin. All these people are the major contributors of Soviet montage. And films, as you know, Battleship Potemkin, The Extraordinary Adventures of Mr. West, The End of St. Petersburg Arsenal, all those things are very famous movies under Soviet montage. Before going to Italian neorealism, you may be getting a question about the types of montage. I hope you all know, or hope you all are aware of the type of montage. We have methods of montage like metric editing, rhythmic editing, tonal editing, overtonal editing, and intellectual editing. So these all terms comes under methods of montage. So metric montage or metric editing is based on the length of the shot, and rhythmic editing, as the name suggests, based on the rhythm of action in shot. And tonal editing, it is concerned with the tone of the shot, like shapes or aesthetic attribute, light, etc. Next, overtonal editing. So it brings metric, rhythmic, and tonal. Overtonal is a combination of metric, rhythmic, and tonal editing. And the last one is the intellectual editing. Last one is the intellectual editing, which the shots are arranged to give us an intellectual meaning, as simple as that. So these are the methods of montage. The thing is, it is not there in this slide, so for your, but you just keep those things in your mind, like there are types of montage. uh, Coming to the next slide, that is Italian neo-realism. So this is the third movement, the third major film movement, Italian neo-realism. It started with 1943 to 1952. So before continuing, can anyone say which is the uh, very famous film under Italian neo-realism? Anybody, so that I can understand that the people are there actively listening. Anybody can answer one of the very famous film under Italian neo-realism, since you all have gone through that. Yes, Bicycle Thief, as you answered. Bicycle Thieves is the very famous film under Italian neo-realism. So Italian neo-realism focused on the common problems and not with a revolution or any political based films. So it was showing the depicting the originality of the post-war Italy, depicting the originality or the reality of post-war Italy. So the characteristics of those films are, it is a portrayal of social reality, the post-war reality, non-professional actors for authenticity. As you know, in that Bicycle Thieves, even that film, there were the professional actors acted in that particular film. It is said that uh, these filmmakers, they hire the professional actors and they help out those, they hire one or two professional actors, then they uh, for helping other non-professional actors. So the majority people will be the common people who are there in that particular society. As you have seen the Bicycle Thieves movie, you could easily relate that all the people who are in that film are the ordinary people. So that is one of the very peculiarity of Italian neo-realism. And next is outdoor shooting. Again, you can connect with the Bicycle Thieves, the film Bicycle Thieves, street location. Street location means it is not studio based. As we said about German Expressionism, it was studio based, but for here it is not studio based. It is the outdoor shooting or the street was the location for that. Documentary style means it has a narrative. It has a narrative. Documentary style and film is always a narrative style, and Italian realism kept that style. And next is anxiety. Again, whenever I say about Italian realism, you could just, since Bicycle Thieves is one of the very famous movie, and hope the movie which all have seen, you could connect all these points with Bicycle Thieves. You could see that anxiety in that particular film. So films avoided editing and lighting of the location. So they didn't do any editing technique or lighting of the location. In that, we can say that it is budgeted films, because they didn't spend much on the film, because as you know that post-war Italy's the condition was very poor, because they couldn't afford more. That is why they have stepped out from the studio. So in that case, okay, they have avoided editing and lighting of the location. They have directly gone to the street. And the dialogue of the film focused on conversational script and not the scripted dialogue. The dialogue happened as it is. The thing was, okay, people start talk like in a conversational mode. They don't have to. Obviously, there was a script, but not necessary that they have to by heart everything. In the other way, they was speaking in a conversational mode, so that they can easily attach with the people. Uh, so the film is not a happy ending, as you say that, as you have seen in the Bicycle Thieves, the film is not at all a happy ending. Again, it was a scenario of post-war world, a scenario of post-world war scene. It was not a very fantasy kind of thing. It was a very realistic thing, and it influenced a lot of filmmakers. And these are the movies which have Rome, Open City, Bicycle Thieves, Last Strada. All these films have contributed to the Italian neo-realism. Hope you can get these points. Hope you are understanding these points. Next one is French New Wave. So French New Wave, and the term New Wave, as far as the Indian film is considered, the New Wave have a connection with our Indian films. So French New Wave is a French film movement which emerged in the 1950s and 1960s. So common features of New Wave include a radical experimentation with editing, visual style, narrating, as well as engagement with the social and political upheavals of the era. So the thing is, they have played with, or they have played with the techniques of editing, narrative style, and engaging with the social and political issues which was there in that particular society. So that conventional, they broke all the conventional type of filmmaking. The French New Wave have they was moving against all those conventional type of filmmakings, and it was spearheaded by the critics of Cahiers du Cinema. Cahiers du Cinema. It was spearheaded by the critics of Cahiers du Cinema. Do anyone know that what is Cahiers du Cinema? Anyone? Have you heard about this word, Cahiers du Cinema? Because it's an important thing which was asked in the previous year question papers, and it will be asking again in a different format. No, it's not an association. Any other guess? Any other, like one or two can answer again, just a guess. So it's actually a magazine, as Rebecca ma'am said. Okay, it's not a book, but it was a film magazine. So Cahiers du Cinema is a world best known film magazine. So it was founded in the year 1951 by trio writers, and in that the founder writer is Andre Bazin. Andrebazin. Andre Bazin is the founder of that Cahiers du Cinema. So again, the other two people, Jacques Valcrosa, Joseph Marie Loduca, are the other members. But you have to remember the name Andre Bazin. You have to remember the name Andre Bazin. So they have bought out through this Cahiers du Cinema. Andre Bazin brought out a theory known as auteur theory. AUTEUR. It is an important film theory. AUTEUR. Auteur theory. So, as Andre Bazin or Cahiers du Cinema or auteur theory says, okay, they says that film director. The film is a reflection of the director's artistic vision. So a movie directed by a given filmmaker will have should be recognizable. So a film is a director's cinema. A cinema is a director's product. So they proposed the theory, auteur theory. So they said that cinema should be the director's theory. So again, French New Wave was connecting with that. Cahiers du Cinema. Again, Jean-Luc Godard, all those people were associated with Cahiers du Cinema and French New Wave. So the films which came under French New Wave, it was about the director's film. As we can say that it was the director's film which came under the French New Wave. So these are the key figures. I hope everyone are very much aware of these people. Franco Truffaut, Jean-Luc Godard, Claude Chabrol, Agnes Verde, Jacques Rivette. So in that, at least you may be aware of those two people, Truffaut and Jalo Godard. Breathless, hope all have seen that particular movie. So I'll tell you about the characteristics of new wave. If you have seen the film Breathless, you can connect those things in those characteristics, French new wave characteristics. Discontinuity editing, breaking 180-degree rule. Hope everyone knows that 180-degree rule. So there was no master shot, there was no reaction shot, just disjoint scenes, jump cuts. You know that when you have, if you have seen the Breathless movie, you could see that the person, the hero, when he was moving in a car, okay, we could see that many scenes are repeating and many jump cuts were there in that particular movie. And camera movement, it was handheld documentary style, like people were running with the camera, the cinematographer, there was, they didn't put a tripod to fit the camera, tripod for the camera. Instead of that, they were moving with the camera. So if you could see that particular shots, you can understand that people are moving with that particular shot. So Godard's style was low angle to high angle, and Varda is like slow tracking, like point of view shot. And Frank Truffaut's characteristics is quick pans. Here, as you know that in filmmaking, we do not do a quick pan, but here in this particular new wave characteristic of French new wave characters, they have brought all those traditions. They have brought all those traditions which was existed in that particular movie or particular film. So, and next one is the characteristics breaking the fourth wall. There is they don't say that the character should be like that, and they have given multiple, they have given preference to the long takes, unlike the other movies which was for few seconds. This film have gone for the long take shots, and they have used the direct sound. Direct sound is the sound from the directly from that particular location. Instead of that editing, post editing work, they have used the direct sound from that particular location. And the last one, the point, hope these slides will be shared with you, so you can go through all the slides, all these points. And the last one, we need not show everything for active audience. If you have seen the Breathless movie, you will understand that that end of the film says it opened many questions for the audience. What happened thereafter? So they are not telling everything to the audience. Instead of that, the audience should make their own meaning after watching that film. And next one is low budget films. It was a very low budget films, location short films, and freestyle editing, spontaneity, and all these characteristics are on the French new wave. Next point out, all these film movements are all these four film movements are the very major film movements in the world: German Expressionism, Soviet montage, Italian neorealism, and French new wave. These are the major film movements in the world. Am I getting so fast, or could you? Is it okay if I move in this way? Can someone respond to that, please? Are you getting the points? Okay, thank you. Okay, so next we'll be looking into the British New Wave. British New Wave, that was in our syllabus. If you can see the last point, last film movements, you could see that that particular topic, that is British New Wave. It was in the year 1959 to 1963. And as you can see in the slide, British New Wave cinema lasted only a few years. For a few years only, they have been into existence. So the British New Wave was characteristics by many of the same stylistic and thematic convention as the French New Wave. As the name suggests, you can see that it is also influenced by the French New Wave. So usually in black and white, these films had a spontaneous quality, often shot in a pseudo documentary style. All these characteristics which we have seen in the French New Wave, that is again influenced for the British New Wave cinema. So it is just for your understanding. I haven't seen any questions regarding the British New Wave films in the previous year question paper. Then also you just remember all these all the name of these directors. Later they may ask these questions. At least, as I said in the last session, last day's session, at least you should have an idea that yes, I have seen this particular name somewhere. So you can just connect that particular point to the answer sheet. So it will be for that. At least you have to remember all these names: Tony Richardson, Carol Rees, John Schlinger, Lindsay Anderson. Or all these people are the key figures under British New Wave. And next one is avant-garde. Next one is the avant-garde film. As you can see, avant-garde is a term used in the military, literally means for-guard. It is a military term, but it is used in cinema also. It is used in cinema also. So it used to typify various aesthetic groups that arose immediately before and after the First World War. So the avant-garde movement that arose after the World War showed the horror of the film. It showed the horror of the film. And the characteristics of avant-garde films are disrupting space and time, discontinuity, fast editing, disoriented shots. As you can see that avant-garde is like coming for it is thing which comes foreground, like for guard, as they say that it breaks all that again conventions of the filmmaking. So discontinuity, fast editing, disoriented shots, all these are the characteristics of avant-garde. And groups and there had, like, after these avant-gardes, some groups and movements were started. For example, futurism, Dadaism, constructivism, surrealism. All these movements, I hope that you all have heard these particular terms: futurism, Dadaism, constructivism, surrealism. All these terms or these movements or groups came after the or made during the avant-garde era. During that avant-garde era. And stages of avant-garde. Stages of avant-garde, as you can say, that it is subjective cinema, pure cinema, and surrealistic cinema. And I have already said about those movements and groups after the avant-garde. So these are the avant-garde films: Manhattan, Ghost Before Breakfast, Anshi and the Lou. All these films. Hope at least did anyone see any of this film? Anybody saw any of these film? Please respond to that. Like any of these 5 films, anyone, or at least all the 5? Any of these avant-garde film? Could you name any of these films which you have seen, which you have watched, this avant-garde film? You can unmute yourself, or you can type it in the chat box. Okay, haven't watched any. That is a response I got from here. So I'll tell you about the characteristics of avant-garde films. As the film movements, as I said about those Dadaism, structuralism, and surrealism, it is a kind of movie which said about the fantasy type of kind of thing, which is surrealistic, beyond the realistic thing. Okay, I'll share you those links. YouTube, those movies are available in the YouTube. All the movies are available in the YouTube. Okay, I'll if possible I'll share that particular thing also. And the thing is about the avant-garde film is it is purely surrealistic films. For example, Anshi Andalu, there were scenes like which is very extreme, where people could like horror type of films where we can't associate anything. There has no connection between those scenes and shots. So all these films, all these techniques were used under avant-garde films. So again, this avant-garde movements is a connection between with the French New Wave. So breaking all the traditions. It is about that. Next is psychological film theory. Psychological film theory. Hope you have heard these two people name Sigmund Freud and Lacan. Sigmund Freud brought forward the psychoanalytical process. Hope you know that id, ego, superego, all those kind of thing associated with Sigmund Freud psychoanalysis thing. So psychological film theory. So it is a process that practiced worldwide. The film that is practiced worldwide. So they have brought out this particular idea, the psychological analysis in films. So Alfred Hitchcock, Karl Markowitz, all these people have followed the psychoanalytic film theory. So it is based on the human tendency, human psychology, or both Lacan and said about human psychology. So the films which was shot under like it is not a movement. Actually, it is not a movement. It's actually a theory. So do not get confused with that. So it's actually a theory. Those films have proposed that psychological aspects of humans. So Alfred Hitchcock was one among that. And coming into the Indian film, and to your understanding, there are more theories, more film theories, which I am not going to discuss. There are feminist theories, Marxist film theories. No need to go deeper into that because there are more film theories. So what you can do is just have an idea about all those theories, the names at least. That's enough. A Marxist theory is the feminist film theory is the OTR theory. Already I have said about those things. So these are the kinds of theory which are very famous in films. And next, we are coming into the golden age of Indian cinema and the Indian New Wave. When I mentioned French New Wave, I already told you that French New Wave have inspired the Indian filmmakers. I'm not going to tell the history of Indian cinema. Hope you all know that Dada Saheb Phalke and Raja Harishchandra, Alam Ara, all those historical films. I'm not going to the history of films because all these things are available. The thing is, it is available throughout the website, or the books are available in that. So I'm not going to repeat those history things because you'll be getting confused with them. Yes, I hope you are aware of all those things. So the golden age, the period from late 1940s to early 1960s, is regarded as the golden age of Indian cinema. So this period saw the emergence of parallel cinema movement. Again, new wave. That is, parallel cinema movement is known as the new wave movement. So filmmakers like Satyajit Ray, Mrinal Sen, Ritvik Gattak, all these filmmakers ventured into the filmmaking. So movies were more realistic, socially relevant, and poetic. So again, these films, okay, Indian New Wave, it's a connection of French New Wave and Italian Neorealism. So they have like showed the realistic content of movie. Before that, when we say about the historical, like when we look into the history of films, you know that it was about the epics in the movies, like epics in the Indian society, like Mahabharata, Ramayana, and about kings and about gods. The films were shot on those particular people, on those particular subject, either god, either any epic, or either any key figures, or all those things. But when it comes to the new wave, when it comes to the Indian New Wave, they have spoke about the socially relevant topic and the realistic topic. And in that very famous film is very famous film is Satyajit Ray's Appu trilogy. So Pater Panchali, Aparachido, Apur Sansar, Charulata. Is there anybody who watched all these films of its Appu trilogy is Pater Panchali, Aparachido, and Apur Sansar, and Charulata is another film of another very famous film of Satyajit Ray. Is there anybody who saw all these four films? Anybody who can respond? Watched Pater Panchali and others? Any others? Not all, but some films. Okay. So some clips. Okay. Then again, there are more members who didn't respond to that, I guess. Okay. If possible, please do watch all the films. And when we were when we were doing the degree and degree class, not degree, PUC kind of thing, Satyajit Ray was considered as only we heard about the Satyajit Ray name, and during the PUC only we watched that film Pater Panchali. So everyone were like Satyajit Ray was the father of Indian cinema, but later only when we learned about the history of Indian cinema, we understood that not Satyajit Ray, because Satyajit Ray represented Indian cinema. That is a thing. It's just an off topic. Sorry for that. And it's like Satyajit Ray represented the world, Indian cinema to the world. So Satyajit Ray, Pater Panchali had the distinct honor of being the first Indian film to open the Cannes International Film Festival. That is the reason why I told you that. So remember this Appu trilogy order and the order of Satyajit Ray films, because you may be getting the questions regarding that. Because though they will not repeat the questions as such, they will be rephrasing that particular question. They will be replacing the particular question and they will be asking about that. And next, continuing with the golden era of Indian film, directors like Mehboob, Bimal Roy, sorry, Guru Dutt, Raj Kapoor entered the film industry during these years. So the fight for independence, famine, changing social norms, global fight against fascism, all these contributed for this film. So these directors, we can say that they have changed the fate of Indian cinema. These directors have changed the fate of Indian cinema. So in commercial Hindi cinema, remember this particular cinema because you'll be getting the sequence questions. You'll be getting the sequence question like film Pyasa, Kardas Getu, Fool, Avara, all these films. I just hope you all are aware of these particular film. Gurudat Devan and Raj Kapoor, Dilip Kumar. There is Dilip Kumar and there is Ashok Kumar. Ashok Kumar is a very famous actor. Anybody know Ashok Kumar? Yesterday, I have asked a question regarding that. Ashok Kumar is a very famous film director. So again, here in this thing, we have seen Dilip Kumar also. So there are popular actors like Mala Sinha, Meena Kumari, Nargis. All these names you are much aware of. I know that you are aware of all these names. So connect these names with the Indian New Wave cinema. Indian New Wave cinema. And some of the major films during that during that time was like Mother India, Mughal-e-Azam. All these films are very famous during that particular time. And so this, just go through that slide. I'm not going to repeat the same thing which is there in the slide. You just read that particular slide. Just have an understanding all these film. Like just do not by heart those film name. Just keep these film name in your film names in your mind. So later on you can just brush upon it. That's it. So just read those film name. Artistic cinema, commercial cinema, and golden era of musicians. Okay, hope you all have noticed or hope you have gone through all these names. And next one is new Bollywood. So we are coming into the Bollywood or the present status of the Indian film, and not the present status where it all started. So it started by the year by 1990s. Yesterday we were discussing about 1990s, that globalization, LPG. Liberalization, privatization, and globalization. So it opened uh, opened the film industry. We know that 100% FDI is there in the films. So New Bollywood, it was a mixed period of romantic, thriller, action, and comedy films. So the golden period, as you know, that the golden period, it was not the romantic, thriller, action type of movies. They were movies related to the reality of the society, the moral issues of society, the political issues of the society, the famine, all the actual things, all the realistic events which happened in India during that year was clearly depicted in those parallel films or the Indian New Wave films. But when it comes to the 1990s, okay, we say about that Bollywood film. So Bollywood started whenever, now also when we now it is changing. Whenever we hear about Bollywood, we know that it's about thriller, it's about romantic, it's about action and comedy films. And now we know that digital Dolby, DTS, all those films, all those techniques, 4K digital things have been is there in the films now. So prominent actors Salman Khan, Amir Khan, Shah Rukh Khan, of course I missed that name here, no, Shah Rukh Khan is there. All those filmmakers, all those film actors, prominent film actors which you all are aware of, all those films were produced during that time. And Dilwaliya Dulhaniya Le Jayenge, so those films, okay, I guess there is a theater in Mumbai which show that film, DD LJ now also. So those films, okay, all those films is a phase of Indian films after like 1990s. They say about the romantic thriller action kind of movie. Now also when you look into the films, you can see that all these elements are still there in the Bollywood films. But there are some films which stays parallel to those particular films. There are films which are doing parallel movies. There are directors who do the parallel movies. And going into the going to the film, Indian film, okay, epic Mahabharata Ramayana significance of that. Sanskrit drama, song and dance. These are the characteristics of films, Indian films. So Hollywood influence like universal appeal, stardom, big budget things, where the French New Wave focus on lower middle class people, Italian neorealism, usage of non-professional actors, and Indian literature, literary adaptations. So all these kinds of movies were produced and are producing in films, in Indian films now also. All these terms, all these things related to these terms are still there in Indian film. So this is I'm giving a brief idea about the content in the Indian films. And next, the trend in Indian cinema. Trend in Indian cinema, as I have clearly mentioned in yesterday's session, there is 100% foreign direct investment in cinema. 100% foreign direct investment is there in the cinema. So big banners in India like UTV, 20th Century Fox, Sony Classic, all these big banners are there in India. Eros now, all those all those film production you know that. So India ranked first in the film production. When we connect the the whole world statistics, India ranked in the top. India ranked in the top, like average 1,600 films per year. That is a rate. around 1600 years. So that's a huge number, because the second position US is having just 600 films on their account for a year. So we are like 1000 films ahead, number 1000 numbers ahead in the filmmaking. That's why we are the largest producer of the film. And not only that, Indian film is a one which have market throughout the world, even in China, Japan, Singapore, Malaysia, all those, and USA, UAE, all those kind of Canada, all those European Asian countries. We have like market. We have a release in all, a worldwide release is happening for Indian films. Like as I have said, market in 90 countries. I just mentioned only some of those countries. So in that one, so taking that into consideration, so Indian films make good amount of money also. So 13 film companies are listed in National Stock Exchange. That is again an information for you people. And next, you know that there are improving quality of films like 3D, 4K, HK, everything, computer generated imaging, CGI. All these films, you know that animation movies or graphics are there in all the films now. So the thing is, we have updated in all the we have like updated in all the technologies related to the cinema, like visual effects are there in more films. Visual effects are there, like all the films, like all the Bollywood films, they use the visual effects. I'm not naming any of the films, because there is no film which does not have a visual effect. That is as simple as that, because all the films are having their visual element, like visual effect element, and there are a set of team who are into that, who are working for that particular film. And digitization of films, that is why when you asked about the link of that film, link about Pater Panchali or Apu Sansar or Apu Triology films, okay, the digital version of films are available now. Even the government of India is taking measures to preserve those films. Film archives is there. And if you go to the Doordarshan thing, you will be getting those posters, you will be getting those serials which are there in that particular time, which was telecast during that particular time. That is why yesterday I mentioned about Ramayana. Ramayana, we can say that during this time they have telecasted Ramayana, because we archive the films, we preserve the films in the digital format. And wide releases in regional cinema. All the regional languages have wide releases now. Next, video on demand. I was discussing about that, like DTH, over the top. I'm not going to beat on that again. Like there are like 17 players. I have mentioned 10 of those names yesterday. It's at like Euros now, and today I guess it's today third. This is 3rd July. Last year Geo planned. Okay, last year they said that they'll be doing the first day first show in film, like through the OTT platform. But before that, Amazon Prime have did that. Like today and yesterday, there was a movie release, I guess. First day, first show is there in the OTT platform. So that is changing. We know that, okay, if there is no corona, like we can't imagine a thing like we can imagine, but later in the later years, but we didn't imagine that we can see the first day, first show from our room, but it is now. It's now a practical thing, like we can see that particular movie from our room, from our own space, we can see that. So that's about the OTT platforms. And film genre, you can say that when I said about film, okay, there are film genres are there throughout, like to name some of that, horror films are there, science fiction are there, comedy films are there, love story are there, action films are there. Drama films are there, war, adventure, biography films, fantasy films. All those films are there. Like when I say about biography film, like I can say about Dangal. It was about a person. The Amir Khan star movie Dangal. Okay, it was about a person. Uh, so those type of movies like and it crossed it crossed the box office. It is one of the biggest largest box office hit in India. So all these type of genre are there in the film, like so those film this is just for your information. So again, central board of film certification coming into films. Next is central board of film certification. CBFC is a statutory body under Ministry of Information and Broadcasting under Cinematograph Act 1952. So films in India can only be exhibited after they have been certified by the Central Board of Film Certification. After approval only they can screen the movie in India. So there are like ratings are there, film certifications are there. It is EU unrestricted public exhibition because when I attended the question, okay, when I attended the NET exam, I have faced a question like this, CBFC questions where question was there during that exam. So these are the rating, certification rating, like U for unrestricted public exhibition, A for restricted to adults, and UA is unrestricted public exhibition, but with a word of caution that parental discretion required for children below 12 years. Much of our films, much of our Indian movies are under the category of UA, that is unrestricted public exhibition. So when if we go with our students, like if we go with our kids, okay, the movie will be like UA, under that UA category or U category. Next is a special category, that is S. So S is only associated, only people associated with science, doctors, scientists, engineers have the permission to watch those films. Why? Because those films will be having like extreme content, like for example, for the doctors kind of thing, they'll be having like medical things related to the film that the common man can't like digest. So all those things will be there for those specialists. That's why that particular term is special case or special class of person. And hope you know the present chairman of CBFC. It is Prasoon Joshi. So it is appointed by central government. Our union government appoints the CBFC chairman. He is Prasoon Joshi, and we have 9 regional officers. We have 9 regional officers for CBFC, like at Mumbai, Kolkata, Chennai, Bangalore, Thiruvananthapuram, Hyderabad, New Delhi, Cuttack, and Guwahati. So in these places, we have regional centers for CBFC. So what you can do is, okay, when you watch a film, and next day when you watch a film, there will be a certificate during the film, during the beginning of a film, you can see a certificate. Later, before like I guess like 5 months at least, or 3 or 4 months before, it was yellow in color, but now it is white in color. You can see a white and a green thing. The certificate is white and green color. Earlier it was yellow color. So you can see the certificate. In that you'll be seeing that film name, duration of films, the names of the director, and the regional center from where this film is like approved, or where this film is like certified or censored. Censorship has happened. So you can see that particular thing in that certificate. So moving into the next thing, that is film grammar. This is about signified, signified, signifier, and sign. So sign is equal to signifier and signified. Hope you all have heard about the name Ferdinand de Saussure. So who is known as the father of modern linguistics. So here we can connect it with the semiotics also. So it is actually a linguistic term, but also in film we use all these terms, and there are more terms related to those films which I'm not going to tell you because it's more confusing for you people. For the basic understanding, I'm telling about signifier. So any material thing that signifies, example, words on a page, a facial expression, all those things comes as signifier. And signifier, the concept that a signifier refers to is known as signified. And next is a sign. Sign, as you know, that the smallest unit of meaning, that is signifier, and signified is equal to the sign language. And Ferdinand de Saussure, he have brought out the langue parole. I guess I'll be telling that particular thing in the later slides. Okay, so Ferdinand de Saussure have contributed all those things into the communication aspect as well. Next, we are looking into the production stages. Production stages, as you know, there are three kinds of production, that is pre-production, production, and post-production. So this thing is applicable to all the film, whether it is animation, whether it is any other kind of movie. All these things are needed for the television also. Television, cinema, animation, all these production stages are same for everything, but there will be some things which will be added onto that particular thing. Like in animation, we know that there will be like more technological thing will be there in that animation movies kind. So these production stages are equal to like is therefore all that particular all the production things happened in film, television, and animation movies. So in pre-production, there will be planning, preparation, idea, starting with the concept, setting the goal, objective, target audience, budget, limitation, and restrictions. All these things comes under pre-production, scripting, pre-writing, writing, production plan, forming the crew, all those things, and building a program, outline, research, cast, costumes, storyboard, which is a very important thing. All these things happens in that particular uh, pre-production stage. You have to understand, I'm not going to explain all these things, it is available in that particular slide. What you have to do is you have to understand what are things involved in that production stage, because there was a question regarding these stages of production, like storytelling, modeling, all those things, so which to order in a chronological sequence as it appears. So you have to understand this production, because I have given the detailed things which comes under the pre-production stage. So it is said that if the pre-production stage is fine and good, then the film will be very good. Or the post-production, if the pre-production work is up to the mark, the post-production will be very easy. Next thing is the production thing. The production means the actual shooting happening, or the things which we were doing in the pre-production stage. The production is the time to make it happen. So production stage, it is like a shooting schedule, location, floor plan. It's not about the floor plan, like, okay, we have to go to that particular location. All those crew members, all those people whom we were like sorted down in that pre-production state, they will be appearing in the camera, sound recording, ensuring like continuity, lights, camera, action. That is the thing which happens in the production stage, like camera, action. So the things which appear in front of the camera, the real shooting, is known as the production. And next one is the post-production stage. Post-production stage means the editing. EFX means effects, SFX means sound effects, GFX, graphics, and dubbing, exporting, distribution. Everything happens in post-production stage. And I hope you know that the trailer, all those things comes under this particular thing. So post-production is an important stage in the film making. So these are the three stages like involved in the production process. Hope all are there with me, like actively participating in that. Can someone respond to that? Am I going fast, or is it okay? Shall we proceed with that? because I was like I'm feeling like I'm just going like monotonous. Okay, fine. Okay, so remember that we are like we have been covering a good portion of topic in this particular syllabus, and next is lighting, 3-point lighting. So 3-point lighting is important in the film aspect. As you know that it is key light, fill light, and backlight. So these are the three major lighting. We already know that there is something called 3-point lighting. So key light is the main or predominant light on a subject. It is known as the strongest light. So it is a light that gives shape, form, and definition to the subject. So remember that it is a light which gives shape, form, and definition to the subject. So it creates a sharp defined shadows. It creates a sharp defined shadows. Next is fill light. So any light that balances the key light is referred to as fill light. So the fill light is the thing which balances the key light. Fill light is a soft light, like it plays near the camera on the opposite side of the opposite side from the key light. So the fill light fills the dark side of the subject. The fill light fills the dark side of the subject. So remember this. There was a question regarding the lighting, 3-point lighting and 4-point lighting. So remember that the characteristics of uh, lighting. So is the noise of rain disturbing? Like, like those the windows, or is it okay? Anybody? Okay, I'll continue. Next is backlight. Backlight is any light that comes from behind the subject. Backlight is a light which comes behind the subject. When it comes to the top of the subject, we say it as a top light. So it is also referred to as a rim. Black backlight also referred to as a rim. So the main purpose of backlight is to separate the subject from the background. The main purpose of a backlight is to separate the subject from the background. So the light adds dimension and contrast to the shot and serve to help focus the viewer's attention on the subject by highlighting their outline. So that 3D animation, that dimension thing happens with the backlight thing. So this is a picture for your understanding what is backlight, what is key light, and what is fill light. And kickers, there is a term known as kickers. It is often confused with a backlight. A kicker is a light from behind subject, but enough to the side so that it skims along the side of the face. It is not backlight, but which comes near to the backlight. That is known as kicker. So backlight is also known as a rim, and there is something called kicker also. Do not forget that. Next is 4-point lighting. 4-point lighting consists of exactly the same setup as 3-point lighting with an additional fourth light dedicated to illuminating the background. There will be another light which illuminates the background. That is known as 4-point lighting, or these 3-point lighting. That is key light, fill light, backlight, plus this light which illuminates the background. Then it is known as 4-point lighting. Then it is known as 4-point lighting. So next, coming into the post-production stage, there are like different types of transition. These are the video editing transitions. So you will be if you are using like video softwares, you are much aware of all these transition types. That is, different types of transition are cut, crossfade, fade, wipe, digital effect, jump cut. All these things are there. So if you are good at like software thing, you'll be aware of these particular things. These are the some of the digital video software. Again, this question is being asked for the previous year question paper. They'll be giving some software name They'll be asking which software is editing, which software is for audio, which software is for photo editing. All those kind of questions were there in the previous year question paper. So make sure that you know at least some of the major film software. That's why I have given the major editing softwares, that is Adobe Premiere, Avid Express DV Power Pack, Final Cut Pro, that is for the Mac, Pinnacle Studio 8. All these are the video editing software which are available now. And there are audio software, Pro Tools, Logic Pro, Audacity, Adobe Audition, SoundForge. These are the audio software. And as I said yesterday, Jim is a free software. Do you know which is a free audio software in this thing? Anybody? Do you know which is the free software? One among them is one among this is a free software, free audio software. Which is that? Anybody can answer. Yes, Audacity is the free software in that. Like you can expect a question like that. Like Audacity is a free software in this particular list. And next, moving into the aesthetics part of film, we this is a term which is there in like our film syllabus, Rasa and Dhwani. And I'm not going to go much into this detail. I'll be telling about those people who contributed to this theory. This is the most important poetic theories of ancient India. These are the why we say about the poetic theories in this film, because we have like film and visual appreciation, visual communication thing. So in that we have to look onto this particular aesthetics theory. So Rasa and Dhwani are the theories of ancient India. That is, this is basically a semantic theory. Semantic theory means meaning, related to the meaning. So Rasa Siddhanta is an effective theory. So it was Abhinava Gupta who developed Rasa theory into a systematic poetic principle. Do not forget this name. Abhinava Gupta, he developed Rasa theory, and Anand Vardhana was the chief exponent of the Dhwani theory. So both these people have contributed to this Rasa and Dhwani theory. Dhwani relates itself to the meanings and suggestive power of words. Rasa is embedded in a language steeped in emotion, the emotions of that particular things, as you know, that poetry. As you know, that poetry, the emotions which are there portrayed in that poetry, like that is known as like Rasa and Dhwani. Okay, this sorry for this. This is a slide which I missed previously. Like when I said about film directors, when I said about the golden era of no, this is not the golden era of filmmakers. Like this is the filmmakers, the important filmmakers, film directors who were before independence and who were after independence, before and after independence. So remember these names. These are the prominent director figures: E.V. Shantaram, B. Bimal Roy, C.B.R. Chopra, you all know that behind the Ramayana Mahabharata episode, Rishikesh Mukherjee, F. Guru Dutt. All these people are the prominent directors. Again, Satyajit Ray, Mrinal Sen, Ritik Ghatak, Shyam Benegal, Basu Chatterjee, Adur Gopalakrishnan, Abarna Sen, Girish Kasaroli. All these people, in these many people are still alive. Like these are the people who are like after the independence. These people are the prominent figures after independence also. So these are the filmmakers which are like prominent in the Indian film industry. And coming into the Oscar movie, we know that the best picture, the latest one, the best picture is known as Parasite, is a Korean movie. Best director again for the Parasite, best actor Phoenix for the Joker role, and these are the Oscar list. Why I have given the Oscar list? Because again, for the sequence, they may ask about this particular thing. They'll be giving the list of like 10 names of Oscar films or director's name. So we'll be having like we have to look into that particular thing. We'll have to have an idea about the recent films, recent Oscar films, because you'll be getting a question regarding that. Next, Dada Saheb Phalke Award. Dada Saheb Phalke, as you know that he is the father of Indian cinema, who was born in Mumbai, like on 70. So he started his first movie during the year 1913, and Dada Saheb Phalke Award was started in the year 1969. As you all know that the Dada Saheb Phalke Award is the India's highest award in cinema. So it is given annually in the National Film Awards. The latest one, Amitabh Bachchan, won the Dada Saheb Phalke Award. So these are the list of Dada Saheb Phalke Award winners. This list you have to be aware of, because again you'll be getting a sequence question regarding these recipients of Dada Saheb Phalke Award. So have a look on that, please. Okay, hope you all have noticed that particular thing. And coming into the next thing, that is visual communication. Visual communication is the transmission of information and ideas using symbols and imagery. That is, visual communication includes science, graphic designs, films, typography. In that, some of these terms we have discussed already in the last session. And the study of symbols and visual communication is called semiotics. When I said about Ferdinand de Saussure, okay, I have connected with the semiotics. I hope you all know what is the meaning of semiotics. The purpose of semiotics is to analyze how people make meaning out of symbols and how those symbols are interpreted. So it is very famous in film. Like every time we used to say the example of a tree. Even when I take the class, like when I take the semiotic class, I used to give the example of a tree. Like, why do we look at a picture and automatically know that it means tree? When we get a name of a tree, we automatically gets that, we automatically draws a picture of a tree with a branch, everything. So we could easily connect with that. So the thing is, people learn through the society and culture what does a tree means, and they associate with the subject which recognized in and recognized with that particular picture. The same thing happens in the cinema also. The semiotics, the study of symbols, or whenever you do a research on cinema, okay, when you do a research on content analysis, you'll be looking into the semiotics of the cinema, semiotics of the cinema. In that, you'll be dealing about the sign, signifier, and signified everything. All those kinds will be associated. And next is the aesthetics of cinema. Like, aesthetics in the world photography refers to the principle of nature and appreciation of beauty. So if aesthetics means the appreciation of beauty. And you know that there are many color theories, gestalt psychology, aesthetics, natural reading patterns. All those things are related to the aesthetics part of the movie. Not only the movie, visual communication. For all the visual communication, aesthetics principles are same. So hope you know about gestalt theory. Have you heard about gestalt theory? Anybody from here? Anybody in the audience about gestalt theory? Anybody? If yes, please say like yes or okay. Oh, there are people who have heard about Gestalt theory. It is with the visual perception theory, like psychology for art, among other things. And there are 5 Gestalt concept. The thing is, I'm not going to tell it in the slide. The thing is, for your understanding again, there are 5 Gestalt concept, that is closure, continuance, similarity, proximity, alignment. So these are the Gestalt concepts, and based on this Gestalt concept, we have defined the aesthetics principles of visual communication. Based on this Gestalt theory, we have like propounded the theory of aesthetic principles. The thing is, the aesthetic principle is a combination of all these things. So elements of composition. The thing is, aesthetics principles involves like unity, proportion, all those things. Hope you all know that dominance, unity, proportion, all those things comes under the aesthetic principles of visual communication. And these are the elements of composition. These elements are uh, there for television, for film, photography, visual communication. For everything, these elements are same. Like space, even for the design, again it's a visual communication thing, so for the designing also these elements are there. So space, line, shape, form, value, color, texture are the elements in composition. And next is aesthetic principle. I have mentioned this in the slide. That is unity, balance, rhythm, dominance, proportion, contrast. These are the aesthetic principles. So when I mentioned the gestalt concept, I was telling about closure, continuance, similarity, proximity, alignment. So all these things are connected with these aesthetic principles of unity, balance, rhythm, dominance, proportion, and contrast. And this is a huge topic itself. It is like a 2 hour, more than 2 hour time we have to need to discuss all this aesthetic principle, but I'm giving you a brief idea about all these things. Again, coming into the new trend of cinema. So this new trend is about that FICCI report, which I already mentioned in that last class yesterday. I was showing you a FICCI report. Hope you received the slides from the Karna ma'am or the admin staff, or otherwise you will be getting it today. So the thing is, when I mentioned that particular thing, the report, okay, I have in that only we can see the trend, new trend in Indian film. Around like 1833 films were released in 2019, like along in 1000 along in India. Like when I was telling about the trends of Indian film, I was telling about 1600 per year. It's a range of 1600 per year, the film release. But 2019 it was like 1833 films. And that's like a range. I told you that average of 1600 films are being telecasted, it's being screened in India. So as many 17 Bollywood movies have crossed 100 crore club. So that is again a very recent trend. Again, 17 Bollywood movies have crossed that 100 crore thing. And next is the highest number of films released were in Hindi. Like 265 films were in Hindi and 263, followed by Telugu. So there was a case where Telugu overtook Hindi, but now the trend has changed. Now Telugu became second and Hindi became first. And Avengers Endgame was the highest grossing Hollywood movie at Indian box office. Avengers Endgame was the highest gross film. You know that gross Avengers, all have seen that Avengers Endgame. And this is the statistics. This is the chart which I can show you for that number of films released in particular language. Just have a look on that. Just see how many percentage are there in that film. So you'll be like, again, there will be question regarding the chronological order. That's why I have gave the time to read that particular thing. Okay, hope you have read that. So moving into the next slide, mighty beam, mighty little beam. You all have hope all are aware of that particular movie. So it has become the Netflix second most watched original series globally. Chota Bheem, mighty little beam have became the, in India it is the first thing. So globally it is the second most watched original series of Netflix. So it is India's first and only Netflix original animation with a viewership of over 27 million. You have to understand that with the Netflix, we know that now we have got the viewership, again the income, advertisement. Hope ma'am have said you about the ad revenue, all those things, from where we get the ad revenue, everything. So now here we can see that the thing is, in this particular thing, in this Netflix, they have crossed over 27 million. So first one is an American movie, American animation, Boss Baby Back in Business. Boss Baby Back in Business is the movie, television series, in the first animation television series, which is in the first place. Now, as I told you before, moving into the question time, okay, I will show you like 16 questions. What you have to do is take a pen and paper. You have to, I'll be giving you a time, at least 5 minutes, 5 to 7 minutes to answer the questions. What you have to do is note down the answers. Later I will call the names so you can respond here. So the things which we discussed here, the questions will be according to the things which we already discussed here. So I'll share you that particular questions now. Okay, can somebody respond whether you can see it or not? Like, can some people respond to me so that I'll understand that you are seeing this screen? Are you able to see this screen? Are you not able to see this particular thing? A question is there. Okay. So what about now? Wait, like, let me. Now are you able to see the screen? Okay, fine. So the what you have to do is you have to write down the answers. No need to write the answers in the chat box. After this question, I'll ask some of the participants. I'll be asking the answers to those participants. So everyone have to answer every question. So the first question is, a virtual reality video aspect is 90-degree, 120-degree, 360-degree, 180-degree. A virtual reality video aspect is 90-degree, 120-degree, 360-degree, and 180-degree. The people who are responding in the chat box, no need to respond now, later only. Okay, I'll be, after all the questions, I'll be asking you again. So we'll be discussing these answers. So no need to respond now. So the second question is, just note down the answers in your sheet, in your paper, or in your form, or elsewhere. Next, which of the following is not a video editing software? Which of the following is not a video editing software? Final Cut Pro, Premiere Pro, Pinnacle, and Pro Tools. The question is, which of the following is not a video editing software? Next question is, which of the following file format was developed by Adobe as an open RAW format? Developed by Adobe as an open standard RAW format. JPEG, TIFF, DNG, PNG. We have discussed this thing in our last class. Next, Ferdinand de Saussure. He divided language into encoding and decoding, content and style, subtext and hidden meaning, langue and parole. Next question is, in a 4-point lighting design, which light separates the subject from the background? Fill light, backlight, key light, background light. In a 4-point lighting design, which light separates the subject from the background? Fill light, backlight, key light, and background light. Set up in 2015, the Indian startup company that shows films at remote location using the mobile theater is known as Show Time, Picture Time, Show This, Picture This. Films which are made to counter stereotyping. Just understand the question, read it carefully. Films which are made to counter stereotyping are called counter stereotyping films, transcoding films, counter transcoding films, revenge films. Counter stereotyping, transcoding, counter revenge. The famous Bollywood actor who led a discussion after every episode of Hum Log is the famous Bollywood actor who led a discussion after every episode of Hum Log is Dilip Kumar, Nuthan, Amitabh Bachchan, Ashok Kumar. Who is the founder of the film magazine Cahiers du Cinema? Franco Truffaut, Claudio Chabrol, Andre Bazin, Jean-Luc Godard. Who is the founder of the film magazine Cahiers du Cinema? What kind of approach does Ziga Vertov, man with a movie camera, have? Expository, interactive, reflexive, observational. I guess you might not be very much aware of these terms. The study of how images affect the way one thing feels, behave, and interprets meaning is called proxemics, image behaviorism, visual literacy, visual recall. This we have discussed already. Next, this is an assertion and a reason. The National Film Awards given by the Director of Film Festivals has broken non-feature films into genre. This provides for a greater scope to give awards to diverse ideologies and subject. The National Film Awards given by the Directorate of Film Festivals has broken non-feature films into genres. This provides for a greater scope to give awards to diverse ideologies and subject. Both A and R true. R is the correct explanation of A. Both A and R are true, but R is not the correct explanation of A. A is true, but R is false. A is false, but R is true. No problem. If you are not getting the answer, no problem. Then the correct sequence of making animation video. The correct sequence. That's why I told you about the pre-planning, production, pre-production of those things. Though I didn't explain much on that, I guess you can answer this. The correct sequence of making animation video. Okay. So next, match list 1 with list 2. InDesign, photo editing, Lightroom, website development, Dreamweaver, audio editing, Nuando, newspaper designing. So match the following. So this is the correct option. Okay, next, again match the following. Sacred Games, Breathe, Boost, Tripling, Alt Balaji, Netflix, TVF, Prime Video. I already told you that OTT platforms and series, we can expect more of these kinds of questions again. So match the following. The last question, again match the following. 3D motion graphics, 2D traditional, CEL, CGI, typographical animation, vector based. Okay, this is the option already about that. Okay, hope you all have uh, completed the questions. Okay, so hope you all can see the screen now. Somebody please respond so that I'll understand that. Yes, okay, okay, fine, fine. So a virtual reality video aspect already mentioned that somebody answered that in the chat box. So that is 360, 360 degree. That is the virtual reality frame rate. And it is virtual reality is a three-dimensional computerized general environment, generated environment. As you all know that what is virtual reality. So it is a 3D computer generated environment. So how it is doing is, okay, they will be creating a virtual environment like using the computer technology. So they'll be using the headset, omnidirectional treadmill, special gloves, everything will be used for this virtual reality. So what happens is people who use this virtual reality, they'll be feeling that like they are on that particular place, they are on that particular place, and they'll move according to that instruction which they get from that particular they input. They'll be responding to that particular thing. So it is an illusion of reality, we can say that virtual reality is a illusion of reality. So next one is, which of the following is not a video editing software? Can Anushree ma'am respond to that? Only Anushree ma'am. Which of the following is not a video editing software in this? Yes, Pro Tools is a audio editing software. We already mentioned that thing. Pro Tools is a audio editing software. And Praveen sir, can you just tell that which is a file format? Yes, DNG. Hope everyone knows that what is DNG. It is digital negative image, digital negative graphics developed by Adobe. Other things, already we know that the things which are associated with the other image designing things, it is already we have already discussed those things there. Next, Ferdinand de Socha, Rebecca ma'am, can you just say that answer? uh, it's wrong. Ferdinand de Socha divided language into lang and parole. De Socha said about lang and parole, and I guess I mentioned this particular word lang and parole when we were discussing about signified and signifier. Maybe because okay, you may have not caught that particular word. No problem, no issues. So remember that Ferdinand de Socha divide the language into lang and parole. Lang and parole means language and meaning. So that signified and signifier, the same thing with the signified and signifier. Uh, Next thing, okay, the answer is itself here, like 4-point lighting design, which light separates the subject. It is the backlight. Do not confuse with background light. It is the backlight which separates the subject from the background. Next one, set up in 2015. I didn't discuss this particular thing. So it is a picture time. The answer is picture time. Set up in 2015. The Indian startup companies that shows films at remote location use mobile theater is short time, picture time. And when you see that answer, read that answer, you will understand that there has no connection. Like show this picture, this. Okay. When we look into the questions clearly, you will understand the meaning. Next, Selva. So can you just say about the next question? Films which are made to counter stereotyping films. Stereotyping films. Can you just answer which is answer for that? Just a guess, a wild guess. We haven't gone through this particular thing, so you can give a wild guess. No, it is revenge films. Counter stereotyping films. So it is when you it is just simple as understanding the meaning of that particular question. Like stereotype, as you known as like the things which are conventions which was there in our society. So revenge films was the thing which brought all those convention type. And next, Charlotte, ma'am, can you could you just say about you can say the answer for the next question? The famous Bollywood actor who led a discussion after every episode of Hamlu. Yes, you are correct. Ashok Kumar was the person who who led a discussion of Hamlo. And yesterday, when I was saying about Hamlo, that was the first soap opera in India. So with this discussion, Ashok Kumar was discussing about the society, about the things which happens in our home, all those things with things which happens our house, and he say about those particular characters, and that was a key highlight in that particular soap opera. And next again, I guess Anushree ma'am can tell that. who is the founder of the film magazine Cahiers, Cahiers do Cinema. Yes, it's Andre Bazin. I'm happy that you all remember this particular name. That is Andre Bazin is the founder of film magazine. And this one, I know that if people are no clue about this, you may be not having any clue about this thing. This is a reflexive kind of film. We have other two type of like expository interactive things are related to the movie methods. Is related to the movie methods. And next question. I'll tell you about that. This one, expository documentaries or expository films. Expository films, they set up an argument about subject and a narrator. So it directly to the viewer, they say about the subject, and the narrator will be speaking about that. So that is known as expository films. And interactive film, okay, they influence the film, like they make the people to respond, like they make the people interact for the film. Because during the earlier times, there will be a person who will be in front of that movie screen, and he will be asking the audience which scene they would like to watch. That is known as interactive thing. That is known as the interactive thing. So these are the two approaches, the two film approaches that I hope I gave you the explanation. And reflexive film, it is like make the audience aware of the film making process. Like there are many films like David Lynch, Mulholland Drive, all those films are under that particular category. Next thing, the study of images, of how images affect the way one thinks, feels, behaves. Praveen sir, can you respond to that? Yes, it's visual literacy. We already spoke about the visual literacy. And next one, the sequence of making animation movie. Rebecca, ma'am, if you can possibly answer to that. Correct sequence of making animation video. Yes, you are correct. That is storyboard. I already, when I was discussing about the pre-production stage, I was stressing on that particular word, storyboard in that. So it goes like animation goes like storyboard. Excuse me. Storyboard, modeling, texturing, rigging, and animation. Make sure that you go through all these terms later after this class, because later on next exam you will be getting the questions based on that particular thing. Next, Selvas, can you just tell about the order, like this one is okay. Okay, since Silva sir is not responding further, no problem. InDesign is a newspaper design software. Lightroom is a photo editing software. Dreamweaver is a website development. Nuendo is an audio editing software. Next, I guess this is also a conclusion thing for you people. So here, next question, Indian cinema is the most extent, and I'm only giving the reply for this. A is false, but R is true. That is, Indian cinema to the most extent has been influenced by Western films. It is not a right statement. But indigenization of foreign films were formula, songs, dance, and melodrama is staple of Indian cinema. That is true. That is true. And identify the correct sequence of Satyajit Ray films. Anybody can answer to that. If Charlotte ma'am is there, yes. Satya Panchali, Abhirajido, yes. Apur Sansar and Charulata. This is the order which I already discussed in our slide. Again, chronological order of Dada Saheb Phalke Award winners. I guess you may not be aware of this particular thing. This one is the order. That's why I told you that you have to be aware of this particular order. Like you have to have an idea at least. So this is a correct order for that particular order. And Oscar Award is also known as, if CP, yes, like the participant is there, we can expect. Yes, Oscar Award is also known as Academy Awards. I guess, okay, the questions which I gave you is over. I'll wind up this session like in another 2 minutes. We'll discuss these questions again. Like we'll continue with this question answer session again. One of the objectives of semiotics in television is to identify and deconstruct mythic structures. Okay, that's three is the answer for that objective of semiotics in television. I already told about that. And the film Citizen Kane was fictional representation of this key figures. Who is that film about? That was a reality story. It was about a person. So, which was that person? That Citizen Kane represented a particular person. Who was that? No, it's not Rupert Murdoch. It's William Randolph Hearst. That's Citizen Kane. So biography films like this, what you can do is, okay, have an understanding of all these things. I know that you may not be, you can't by heart everything, but then also just have an idea on that. Next, film noir means the subject of, we already discussed this. Anybody? Yes, it's crime and mystery. Film noir means the subjects of crime and mystery. This is why I told you that this we can expect the questions in any way. We can expect the questions in any way. So it should be like that's why I told you we should be having a basic understanding of all these things. Next, PAL. Can anybody answer on that? PAL is telecasting format has, no, it's not one. Again, anybody? It's not two. It's three actually. That is 25 per second, 625 lines per frame. So hope you are aware of this particular thing. We have PAL is the phase alternate line. PAL is a format which is used in Asia and used in many European countries as well. So it has made up of 625 interlaced lines, that is 625, and is displayed at a rate of 25 frames per second. And there is another format that is NTSE, that is National Television Standards Committee. It is used in the United States, Japan, and many other countries. It is not used in India. So it is made up of 525 interlaced lines. Instead of 625, it is 525 interlaced lines and displayed at a rate of 29.97 per second. 29.97 per second. Then there is SECAM, that is sequential color and memory. So it is used in USSR, China, Pakistan, all those things. So it is also made up of 625 and 25 per frame per second. It is not compatible with PAL video format standard. It is not, that format is not applicable for the PAL format series. Now we have like HD also. HD resolution, you know, that 72 and 1280 into 720 pixel. So that is HD. So full HD, you know that 1080, like 1920 into 1080 pixels are there for the full HD. So do not confuse it with, like, HD have 1280 into 720 pixels and full HD is 1920 into 1080 pixels. So these are the format rates which are there in our film. We have an idea about that. Next, the film Lawrence of Arabia belongs to which genre? We already discussed about the genre, all those things. Can anybody say about film Lawrence of Arabia belongs to which genre? Anybody? Okay, fine. Since nobody is responding to that, it's epic. It comes under the, yes, Praveen sir is right on that, or it comes under the genre of epic genre. And in filmmaking, fan shot can be described as a visual parody. It is visual parody. And the last question for the day, and the thing which I asked, we already discussed in that particular thing. So what is that? Candid shot is referred to as, yes, it is Dutch angle shot. It is Dutch angle shot. And the thing which I miss here, like film parody. Hope you know what is film parody. It is a concept of classical Bollywood film. That is protagonist-driven narratives are known as the parodying concept of films. So with this thing, now the kind is 333 is a very good symmetrical number. When we think about the design perspective, we can say that 333 is a symmetrical number. So that's the end of the topic, and I guess I have covered all the important topics to the syllabus. I'd be happy if somebody can respond to this thing, since I'm winding up this session in another 1 minute. Anybody can hope you understood that. I'd like to unmute someone I can unmute. I know that it's a big topic, the concepts are very big. I try to cover, I try to include all the portions under this particular unit. What I have to say is, please go through all the materials you will be sharing and go into the terms. If you go deep, I'm not asking you to go deep into all the terms and terminologies, but instead of that, have an idea about what is happening in those concepts or terms. And I thank you for being an active participant. And next session will be at 4 o'clock. The last session for the day, you'll be getting a research session by Dr. Srishant sir. So kindly join in that particular thing. You'll be getting that ID in your group. And thank you once again. Thank you.